and this still gets me to this day. So I wanted to be funny younger than I
still
think I was. Yeah,
Hi-yo.
still want to be.
It's the Scott and Alley Not For Air podcast. The rules are gone. The shirt is untucked. Here's Scott and Alley.
Well, you ready to pick back up from last week?
Yeah. Can we do one thing before we do that? Well, because I read something and we just never got to this on the show. It'll only take a second. Do you take any... I don't know. How do I want to... Do you give any credit? How's the methamphetamines going this week, Allie? Right. By the way, welcome to the Scott and Allie Not For Air podcast. Yes, we are going to pick up in just a second where we left off last week. And then next week, we're going to be doing a podcast to kind of pick up everything that happened from Labor Day. So you'll be able to catch up with us. I'm sure there'll be some craziness that happened between both of us and the time that we're taking off to do different things.
Oh, yeah. Here's my crazy Labor Day canning.
Ooh.
Yes.
And for the week after. Woo.
Bun cake.
Well, you know what? I might reap the rewards a little bit because I told you 60-59. She's quite the canner. So I'm thinking maybe this is going to be... My God, we are really getting ready for a bun cake podcast.
Don't do it.
Let's trade cannings. Jelly for you, salsa for me.
Sonia came over yesterday and I gave her jelly. We are doing a trade. She has like zucchini relish. I'm going to give her spaghetti sauce and salsa.
See there.
Mm-hmm.
This is happening.
Oregon Trail, old world. Like, let's go back to trading stuff.
We are totally.
What else do you need or want that I can give you something that I have? I have an abundance of hats in my mudroom.
Hats. Let's protect the dome.
They may belong to Zach, but he could give up a few.
Just get rid of a few. No, what I was going to say is, do you take any real credit to what a movie? I'm trying to put the words together for this.
I can see that.
What a movie critic would have to say about a movie. I'll give you an example.
Oh, no.
Okay, I don't even need to give you an example. So you're gonna see a movie and you're gonna make your own opinion, whatever the critics say, whether they say it's good, bad, indifferent.
Yes, because their opinion and their taste in movies is different than mine. And to be honest with you, you and I don't share the same taste in movies. Neither do Zach or I. So whenever he says that, oh, this movie was so good, I really go,
was it? I don't know. You and I only share a couple. And the reason I'm going to bring this up is with Beetlejuice. Well, by the time this podcast airs, Beetlejuice will have been out. Beetlejuice.
Uh-huh.
So we have a passion for that movie. And I'm not sure why. For you, it's Tim Burton. I know automatically it's going to be the Tim Burton effect.
And it's that, and it's like the spooky, scary, Halloween-ish. Like, I love all of that. But what are the reviews saying?
Well, it's not about Beetlejuice, and that's where I was going to go with this. So if the critics said something, you're not going to pay attention. What if Quentin Tarantino? I mean, this guy's made quite a few movies.
And good ones.
But
I listened to a podcast of him, and that dude is a little off the rocker.
Well, that's how he makes the movies he makes.
And that's why I can't quite rely on him either.
Well,
let me just form my own opinion. I'm fine with just forming my own.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you one example he said, because I was reading this and I'm like, now that's an interesting take from a guy that makes movies nothing like the Toy Story movies. Not at all. But he had a comment about the Toy Story movies. He goes, I'm not going to see another Toy Story movie. He goes, the original trilogy, you literally ended the story as, these are his words, you literally ended the story as perfect as you could. So no, I don't care if it's good, I'm done. He said he refuses to watch Toy Story 4. We know Toy Story 5 is in production as this is happening.
I agree with Quentin.
He said, there you go. He said, he goes, the third one was just magnificent. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen from Tarantino.
Yes.
And he said, and you've seen the other two, it's just devastating the way that 3 ended. I don't remember how 3 ended. But anyway, he says, and another quote.
The Oven. Remember The Oven?
Oh, The Oven. He said, quote unquote. But the thing is, then 3 years later or something, they did the fourth, and I have no desire to see it. And I literally ended the story as perfect as, well, not him ending the story. He goes, it was ended as perfect as it could be.
And by the way, it didn't end with The Oven, but The Oven was closer to the end. But do you remember, that Andy gave the toys to a neighbor. Was that what it
something
was?
to that effect. Yeah.
But you're right. It was really beautiful. Wrapped it up like a bow. But I feel like that's a lot of people who do the sequels. And then all of a sudden, but now we got to do a prequel. Or you could just end
I
it.
hate prequels.
Or you could just come up with a totally different idea and stop with that. That had a little pretty box, and that is fine.
And that was fine. Now, I will say, he said that about Toy Story. You are in 100% agreement with one of the greatest directors of our time, or maybe ever. He did have to say, though, in this podcast, that he thinks the best trilogy was the Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns, A Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More, and then The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think I've seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I might have seen A Fistful of Dollars. So it's kind of interesting that he talks about these different movies and the ones he really likes.
That makes sense for Quentin Tarantino, and his movies.
Yeah.
If you think of his movies, and even I could see him liking something that is a foundational film.
Yeah, sure. Well, and at the time. Now, I will say, I think what's got me about Beetlejuice is, number one of my favorite characters, and that first movie was so off the wall. And I also love the fact that they used the old style filmmaking, and they did it again in this new movie, which, I mean, hopefully by the time this airs, I will have seen it. It's that old, almost claymation style. It's not, CGI'd. It was all handmade and all that. And I thought that added a charm to it. Almost
very Tim Burton-like.
Almost pulled the production value down, but that's what made it beautiful. By the way, in the new Beetlejuice, there was only 17 minutes of Beetlejuice in the movie. And they were considering putting more time with him in the movie, but he said it would be detrimental to the story. You have to have those moments where he's there, and then you have to breathe. And then you have to have him back. And they did the same thing in the first one. If you think about it,
He's not in there a ton.
No, it was very limited. But when he was there, it was great.
Right.
So,
he made his presence known.
Yeah, that's all. We can pick up where we left off now. I just wanted to see your thoughts on movie critics versus if it was Tarantino. And, and that's all.
I still, no matter, even though, I do agree with that. But I want to see things for myself, and I want to make my own opinion. I don't need to hear somebody else tell me. And that's just recently, I was telling my significant other I wanted to try this pizza ice cream place in Savona.
Yeah.
And if you're outside of the state of New York, then it's a really small town close to us. And he was like, where did you hear about this? How do you know if it's going to be good? And I said, I didn't. I saw them on social. Everything looks good. I'm assuming they're good. And I just want to try it. Why do I need to go on what somebody else says? I'll form my own opinion about it.
Sure.
I'll eat the pizza myself. I'll eat the ice cream myself. So I think that's weird, especially because he's such an opinionated person that he has to know what somebody else thought about it first. Where I don't want to know what anybody else thinks. Let me start from scratch.
I guess I can understand where he's coming from food-wise, because
that's how your family always was.
To a degree. You're the family that you guys would try whatever new chip came out that week, and my mom's like, well, let somebody else try it, and we'll just grab this bag of Wise plain potato chips.
Let the Bakers try it first.
Yeah,
let me see what Betty Baker thought about it. Yeah. All right. Picking up from last week.
Yes.
Here are the continuing questions. It was kind of like a getting to know us if you're becoming a newer listener, or if you have been with us for a long time, questions that we may not have ever answered, but that you can get to know us a little bit better. Would you give either of your dogs mouth to mouth?
Probably. I'm back in the pug business. For years, I had pugs, loved them dearly, needed a long time of healing before I brought pugs back in, because they live
a long time.
They live like 16 years. It's a long living dog. It can be. It was heart wrenching. I had 3 pugs pass over time. That just was a natural passing. Well, one was very unexpected and it was very heartbreaking. The other 2 lived longer, and then, that was that. And then I had one more pug, Boo, who was a former significant other was not a fan of Boo, and I had to give Boo up because of that. I wish I would have given that significant other up at that time instead of Boo. But now that the pugs are back in the family and we have 2 of them and they're very young, yeah, I would probably do mouth to mouth for a pug. Probably not a Great Dane with the slobber and all that. That's like too much fluid.
I definitely would for Junior, but I hesitate because
Well, that day may be coming.
shut up, because he's a bit of a nipper. So I imagine he would be very confused.
He's going to come back to life biting your face
That's
off.
my fear, is that I would be giving him mouth to mouth and he would bite me.
You can get one of those squeeze things. You should probably order one of those on Amazon, how you can put it over their mouth and squeeze in the oxygen.
Oh, that's a great idea.
With the bag. You might want to do that.
Just in case I ever need to.
Yeah.
Oh, I would absolutely.
I would.
I would give Fritz mouth to mouth too, but Junior, I'm just going to be like right there, right that second. Like, oh my God, what do I got to do?
You should probably text me when you're on your way to the vet visit, the last one.
Oh my God.
And the reason why is two reasons. One, I have to prepare myself for a couple things. One, I know you're going to be out for a couple days.
Yes.
I understand. I get it. It's going to be difficult. And I'm not going to tease you about that. What I am going to tease you about is Zach's not going to want to leave the house and Fritz to come get you from the vet while you're in utter distress and falling apart. And I feel you're going to need a friend to take you out for a quick ice cream to try to raise your spirits a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So just let me know. Just text me, say, we're off for the final drive. And that's all I need. And I know where the vet is.
It's funny because I have talked about this with Sonia, and I said, even though Junior's not there, like he was running on his walk
and
yesterday
he won't be
morning.
there on the ride home.
And I said to her, I think I would go by myself. And she said, absolutely not.
No.
You don't want to go by yourself. And she's like, I will drive you there and back. And I'm like, oh, God.
Just send the text. I'll meet you and Sonia there, and I'll make sure we'll get right to peaches and cream and get you some sort of something to make it better.
This is so depressing. I don't want to talk about that
Me
anymore.
neither, but we're there for you, and that's the uplifting part. That's the part that you know. Now, may Junior live another 5 years healthy. That'd be great.
God, I hope so.
Yes.
I really do. Okay, we were talking about pizza a second ago and me trying a new place, right? New pizza, new ice cream. Would you eat banana on pizza?
No.
In Sweden, it's a brand new topping.
No.
Me neither, but
No.
I don't like.
I don't even need to try this one. The pineapple's fine. I'll eat that. I don't need banana on pizza.
This is banana and curry, pineapple. Oh, pineapple along with smoked ham too.
No.
I wouldn't, but I don't like banana. So that one's an easy one for me. I don't mind pineapple on pizza though.
Me neither. And you and I mean, I'm not going to order it, but if it's in front of me, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I'm not going to see.
Yes.
For me,
A work thing when they order it, I eat it.
it'll be there. You and I have talked about this, I swear.
Probably.
There are certain things that in our heads represent a savory thing, and don't mess it with the savory to make it sweet. And I like my pizza. Actually, you and I like our pizzas very similar. You can put banana peppers, mushrooms, sausage, black olives, onions,
Everything.
peppers. You load that up. In fact, shout out to OIP. They make a great, it's like, I'm going to call it an everything pizza.
Yeah.
But it's got everything I like. It's got pepperoni, mushrooms, sausage, peppers, onions. I think it has banana peppers on it. That's a good. I can go with just pepperoni and mushroom. I
Yep.
can just eat pepperoni. I don't need things that should be savory trying to be made sweet. Why can't I eat something different that's sweet because it's sweet?
I know. I don't even want to try. And I'm even thinking the mushiness of a banana
No.
on the mushiness of
No.
pizza, like the textures, because like you were just talking about all the different things we like on pizzas, like a lot of those things crunch or it's not mush.
Right.
Like
or they
mush,
have a salty flair.
Right. Like, but mush on pizza?
No.
Oh, that's disgusting.
No.
Okay, next one is Crayola has
Sorry,
officially.
I thought I saw a bug fly by towards the wall next to me.
Maybe.
Might have been an eye floaty. I don't know.
Crayola has officially trademarked the smell of crayons.
Okay.
No, hold on, I'm not done. What is the one smell from your childhood that you would like trademarked?
Oh. Boy, I'm going to date myself.
Okay.
And it is the Ditto ink from before everybody had copy machines everywhere and they became affordable to use.
Yes.
Now, keep in mind, I went to a Catholic school, and none of those schools ever had money unless you're in a huge city up in Buffalo. And I think the school probably actually did have a decent amount of money, but it was before technology came for Xerox copiers where they could spit out, all this. And they used to have the Ditto ink, and it was kind of this bluish ink, and it would come out on a roll. It was the way they did it for years. Oh, God, the smell was it was so, I can still smell it to this day, and I haven't smelled it in 40 years.
I think mine would either be the library, because I love the smell of those books, or it would be Play-Doh, or, this sounds really creepy.
Well, Play-Doh you can get in smells now.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I wouldn't use it as like a daily smell, but...
well, I wouldn't spray Ditto ink on me either, but God, I'd love to smell a bottle of it.
My second grade teacher had this awesome, it honestly probably is the most old lady smelling perfume, but I can still smell it. Like somebody will wear it and walk by, and it was this rose smelling perfume that my second grade teacher would always wear. And I don't know if it's because I liked her as a teacher. So putting those two things together, maybe that's why I like old lady smells so much. I just thought about that.
Wow.
I do. I
had a lot of family get-togethers where there was a lot of old lady smells, and I'm fine not smelling that again, Wow. And you know the one I'm talking, whatever it is, where it's got a peppery after smell to it. You're like, well.
Those are a lot of my smells. Ooh. I think I figured it out. It all goes back to second grade.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could erase one embarrassing moment from your past, which would it be?
All right, we can answer this in a couple ways. There is the work one, which specifically I have. Then there's a personal family one that still haunts me to this day, and it was a failed joke. I can tell you both if you want.
Sure.
One's really funny. One is I still feel bad about to this day.
Okay.
All right, let's go with the family one first. Probably one of the most embarrassing things. Well, there's two now that I think about it. So Allie and I will always joke. I'll start with the earliest memory. Allie and I will always joke that a local concert venue here will, without a doubt, always book the remnants of the band Styx every year to come to this. And I'm like, why are we going? Like, they're all dead except one of them. Maybe they're not, but I don't think, I still look at, or instead of 38 special, they're really booking 36 and a half special, which I used that joke this year because that was one of the shows booked by the local concert venue where you're like, how long do you keep this thing going, right? So that's not the embarrassing part. The embarrassing part was me sitting my family down when I was probably younger than Gavin and doing a concert for them where I lip synced Styx songs.
Oh my God!
And I remember this, and this is embarrassing to tell this story.
I don't even know a Styx song. Come Sail Away, maybe?
Yeah, that would be one of them. Okay. And I would put on the whole performance and all this, and they sat through it, and I look back on that now.
But now it makes sense that you're in radio, because we did something similar too. My family, we had, so we would do our skits at Christmas, but we also had like little music videos. So I lip synced to Bangles' Eternal Flame.
Oh, yeah.
And it's on video somewhere.
Oh.
So it makes sense that we do what we do.
Yeah, that was, I was performing at a young age.
Exactly.
And thank
That's
my family
embarrassing
for that.
to you?
No, well, yes. Now looking back on it, I'm like, oh my God, my family must have been like, what are they? I mean, either they really wanted to, or I don't know, maybe my parents were like, this is what you have to do. You have to sit through this as family. It's painful. We know it. And I never was privy to that conversation, but I'm pretty sure that was a big part of it. Now,
your parents just let the boat sink.
Oh God, they did. And then, but the embarrassing one was, and this still gets me to this day. So I was, I wanted to be funny younger than I
still
think I
does.
was. Yeah,
Hello.
still want to be. I wanted to be funny and thought things I could get away with would be funny at a younger age before I got to the point where I realized there's a time and a place. I still don't always realize it, but most, and I'm not a comedian, but most people that do any form of comedy, I would say we have a level of comedy in our show, that you do learn, well, that's going to fly or that's not going to fly. You build this, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you're never perfect at it because there's still people and there's still times where sometimes it doesn't fly, but you have a different way of dealing with it. Well, I must have been maybe 11 or 12 years old, somewhere in there. Now, my brother and his wife used to, and I still think they do it to a level, would always throw a big Christmas Eve Christmas party. There'd be a huge dinner that was the big family get together, the gathering and all that. And even when my parents got older, they would still go to it. And I'll never forget, and I was maybe 11 or 12, and we were at the family dinner, and I will never forget my sister. And I don't know why, I think there was joking going on before I tried to keep the joking going, where my sister-in-law's sister, and we were all very close, asked for a napkin or something over on a table way over that direction.
Okay.
And I thought it would be funny to go, what's the matter? You don't have legs? You can't get up and get it yourself? But it was meant to be in that sarcasm, jokey way. And it didn't come out that way. And it just landed very flat and very painful, even though I tried to be like, no, I'm kidding. I'll get it. And then they ended up to get it. What's that?
Does she have legs?
Yes, she does. Her husband didn't.
That's where you went wrong.
Her husband had legs, but he was wheelchair bound.
That's where you went wrong.
But I don't know that it was exactly that line. It was playing off, everybody was having a laugh of, there was a level of sarcasm, and I wanted to keep it going.
Regardless.
And it had nothing to do with her husband, who, God rest his soul, but he was a wonderful guy, and we all got along. I mean, everybody.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was bad timing. Now, I ended up getting it, and I ended up explaining, I was just trying to joke, like I was teasing along with it. So that was super embarrassing, right? Because it fell flat. Not because of me dropping the line. Like, I, somewhere in my head, knew this is where I wanted the joke to go, but everybody else was done being funny. Apparently, when everybody else is done being funny, that's when you got to be done being funny.
I also think you need to know your audience. And I was told
I knew them, and I was playing off that moment before that. But you see, you're stuck on where you think it went, but in my head, it wasn't going there. That's why I say, apparently, when everybody else is done being funny, you got to be done being funny.
I like how you're just trying to justify it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I knew where I was going. You didn't.
But you understand why this joke fell
But
flat.
It had nothing to do with, you didn't know anything about his physical handicap before you asked the question.
But now that I know, and you told it.
But nobody was talking about his physical handicap. There was nothing about the handicap happening. Or
the fact
being
that you
part
don't
of
get
it.
The fact that you don't get it is like mind-boggling.
No,
to me.
I get it. But it was nothing to do.
I'm going to tell you
with
something.
him.
It's like this. I get to joke about my brother. You don't.
But I wasn't joking about him.
I know, but that's the way it came off.
Well, clearly. But anyway, that was 30 some odd years ago, maybe almost 40 years ago.
Now you're still feeling it.
Well,
I can tell
probably
by you.
40 years ago. I feel it for the fact that wasn't the intention on where it was going.
I understand.
And it was in a completely different, again, I was playing off the sarcasm of a series of jokes that were being told at that time, or a series of back and forths, and I tried to jump in on that, and that failed. And then it got applied, probably mentally like you did, in an area that, nope, that was not supposed to go there whatsoever.
I think that they probably thought you were too young to make the sarcastic joke, and that you were just going for the mean joke.
Oh, it could have been. Either way, she got her goddamn napkins. Now, the professional end of this also ironically deals with a handicap. We were on Market Street. No, we were on Bridge Street back years ago. Our area, and it gets talked about a lot, used to do an event called Race Fever. And you know this story vividly because you were standing right next to me, or if not, you were very close to me.
I was there.
Chase and Sean, a couple of our coworkers, still tease me about it to this day. There were 300 people in front of our table, our radio station table, because we were tossing swag out. There were beach balls. There were radio station cups. It was bedlam. I mean, and it really was bedlam. And somebody was doing one of these in the back, waving, oh, throw it to us,
lots of people were, yeah.
And I whipped a cup out.
Yep.
And apparently, and Allie can finish the story from here because it's one of her favorites.
He threw it to a girl who had
I threw it up, and it just happened to go that way.
And it landed pretty much right where there was a girl with no hands. So the girl with no hands couldn't catch it. She had it was just wrist. It just stopped at the wrist. And I was like, oh my God.
I didn't see it when it was happening.
I know you didn't, but I'm dying. I'm like, I can't believe. But that was also kind of a weird place for her to be.
Yes.
But I think what it is like it started out as people were just standing in line, and then it turned into,
oh, it was a mass crowd.
Throw at me, throw at me, throw at me, throw at me. And so that's what happened.
Ooh.
It turned from one to the other.
And everybody loves to tease me about that one.
Yeah.
But again, legitimately.
What I'm coming down to, I think the running theme is that Scott doesn't like handicapped people.
That is what you said. I mean,
both of yours were about
I don't take
handicapping.
your parking spots if that makes me a better person.
It does.
Okay, so, but no, it just was, and legitimately in that case, that was crazy. That was literally 200 to 300 people in a small area.
It just
and
so
we're just
happened.
whipping stuff out. I mean, and you're right. Thank you. I shouldn't be embarrassed. I am embarrassed because it's like, oh God, you don't
You
want
didn't even
it.
know it at the time. I think I was the one that was like, oh my God.
Hey, I guess I shouldn't be that embarrassed because if I remember correctly, the family took as many beach balls and cups as they could and wheeled off.
They always do.
And wheeled off.
Yes.
So, sorry that I tried to do something nice and just did not see over the crowd.
They didn't wheel off. She wasn't in a wheelchair. She just didn't have any hands.
Oh. I thought she was in a wheelchair.
No.
Oh.
She was standing there. She was a young girl.
Oh, well, then they moved off. I apologize to this day. I just did not see that feature or lack thereof on you. I apologize.
Let's get off these embarrassing moments. If you could only watch one movie.
Wait a minute. You didn't answer yours.
Oh, if you could erase one embarrassing moment from the past, what would it be? One of them, I have to say, mine are not super embarrassing. One of them got me
you didn't do a Styx concert or a bad family joke or whip a cup at someone with no hands?
One of them was kind of a bad family joke. And listen to what happened. So me, my aunt, and her husband were at a brewery down in Mansfield with our friends Danielle and TJ. We were there for a trivia night. So my aunt was sweating profusely. And so I said something again, similar. I was like, oh, menopause?
Oh.
Yes. Just joking around, right? Well, apparently she had just started menopause. She was really young. So I didn't think that this part of her life had happened yet.
Yeah.
So her husband was very upset with me. And he said, as a matter of fact, she is going through menopause. That's something to not joke about. And kind of just got real snippy with me. So
he was just pissed off because she didn't want to give it up anymore with menopause.
So my friend Danielle.
Sorry, I added. See, this is what happens. I added the icing.
My friend Danielle jokingly smacks me in the face.
Oh my God.
Yes. And luckily Danielle and I are like that, so that's fine. But she was like, oh, how dare you? And smacked me. And I was like, oh my God. And I didn't realize how awful that comment was until both of those people did those things. Him coming back at me, Danielle smacking me in the face, and for me to go, oh, I guess that joke missed the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I would like to take it back because she is one of these people. She is easily embarrassed. See, I'm not easily embarrassed.
Right.
So I was kind of embarrassed for her because I'm the one that did that to her. So I don't really care about her husband. He who cares about him? I don't care. I really don't. I don't care. I mean, he's fine, but I really...
Right.
I don't have a...
I applaud him for defending her.
I do too, but I don't have a strong love for her or love for him like I do for her.
Yeah, for sure.
Danielle, it's Danielle and I.
Yeah.
That's fine. I am embarrassed because she is somebody that's very easily embarrassed, and I wouldn't want to make her embarrassed. Sure. And so that was the thing. That's the one I want to erase because I know that really hurt her feelings. So that's that.
Okay.
That's the one that I would say I could erase that from my past.
I get it.
And be okay with it.
Because you feel bad because your intentions were going one way and it happened, it was either taken or came out a different way.
Right. And I know. It was just because I just sometimes say exactly what is in my head before really thinking about it.
Can I offer you a napkin?
So my thing is you're like, oh, my intentions were one way. I really just didn't have any intentions at all.
No, it was meant to be. I get it.
Exactly. Okay, if you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh God.
I know that's a tough one.
Oh.
That is a tough one.
Oh God, I don't know.
I have mine.
You do?
Yes, The Wedding Singer. I love this movie. It makes so not only does it have music that I love, but it also, it's funny, it's cute, it's a love story, and at the very end, it is just so beautiful. So I'm going to pick The Wedding Singer.
I have so many movies that
It's kind of an odd one, but I like it.
I have so many movies that are all over the place. Like, I remember early childhood memories. Every year they used to broadcast The Wizard of Oz. And I remember being from a little kid all the way, well, till I guess, I don't know, later, some teen year where I'm like, why am I watching this again? That was on. They used to broadcast all the time, every year, The Sound of Music. I have memories of.
But even like Wizard of Oz, does it actually make you happy? Like that one, like the flying monkeys are freaky and creepy. There's also,
I got it.
I feel like I don't walk away from the Wizard of Oz like, I'm just so happy.
No, it was a movie memory. Same with The Sound of Music. That was always broadcast every year. The 10 Commandments used to be broadcast every year with Charlton Heston.
But
I remember these as a kid watching these.
I know, but I'm not walking away from the 10 Commandments like, man, that was just a banger.
Well, they let his people go. I know what it is. And I had to go through these, and you're going to think it was like a Star Wars or a Star Trek movie. No, it's not.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were going to say.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
There you go. Why?
Because it's funny.
Exactly.
It makes me feel good at the end when they let him in for Thanksgiving dinner. If I just ruined a movie for you from 1987, so be it. I saw Jenny Lyons and my first set of boobies felt them for the first time ever in a theater.
See?
I never saw them. And she was the one that put my hand on the boob. I'm like, oh.
This story keeps unfolding. A couple podcasts ago, you talked about this.
That's the end of it. And we never,
You never said that the first time that Jenny put your hand on her boob.
How old was I in 1987? I have to do the math on this.
81, 82, 83, 4, 85, 86, 87.
I was 16. Probably just 16 too. So when that movie came out.
So that's what I was thinking of too when it came to movies was I wasn't going to pick A Christmas Story as much as I love A Christmas Story. And there's so many memories to it. But I needed a movie that I was walking away feeling just really good about. And you knew I was going to pick one with songs in it. Music makes me so happy that I had to pick something that had...
I'm glad you didn't pick Rocky Horror Picture Show, that cult trash.
I like that one, but I also... And then Labyrinth is another one. I love the songs in Labyrinth.
Yeah.
And that's a cult classic for me and my family. But I get a little uneasy about that movie too, because there's some really freaky things in there.
Oh, I've never seen it all the way through, nor do I want to.
Neither will Zach.
Yeah, no interest in it.
I keep getting Zach to try to watch it, and he's like, no, I'm good.
I just have no interest in it. As many people as want to can say how great it is. Nah.
But can't you, for my sake, not you, but I'm saying Zach, can't you, for my sake, suck it up and watch once Labyrinth? Like, our family freaking loves this movie.
It's so weird looking. That's the problem.
Very weird looking.
That's the problem.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah. No, I get it. All right, one more. And then we got to get out of here.
If you could instantly know the answer to any mystery or conspiracy theory, which one would you choose?
Is there really a fucking Bigfoot?
That's a good one.
I'm sorry to be so passionate about this. When I was a kid, my dad traumatized me. It's not like he lived for this, but before we had Discovery Channel, History Channel, where they were searching for gold every week on frickin' Oak Island that they never find, and it just becomes, we're going to sucker you in. It's an advertising ploy. There would be specials that would play a couple times a year, and it would be things like Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, is there a UFO? There was only 3 channels and maybe one fourth one, and the fourth one's the one that would air it. And my dad watching this show, and I'll I'll never forget being a little kid watching with him, because what do? You're like, what's my dad watching? This is kind of a cool show. When all of a sudden, I'll never forget, this is the scene that did it to me. Someday I'm going to find the show, I'm going to rewatch it, and I'm going to either reignite all the horror or I'm going to kill the horror, because I'm going to realize how badly it was played out and the story was told. But it was one of these guys, and it was a dark night, and they were in their house, and June sat down with a cup of coffee, and she sits
June
on the ottoman with the picture window behind her. Mistake number one: serial killers and snipers and Bigfoot can all get you through the picture window.
Yep.
She sets her coffee down and she nuzzles up to a good book.
Nuzzles.
And she leans forward to get a sip of her coffee when, boom, crashing through the window is this giant hairy arm reaching for June, and June leaps out of a chair when Chuck, her husband, goes to get the family shotgun, opens the door, and there's Bigfoot. I am wetting my pants as a 7-year-old at this point, right? And
what a vivid memory for a 7-year-old.
vividly, it stuck with me. And there's Chuck cocking the shotgun when Bigfoot reaches out and grabs the shotgun and rips Chuck's arm off with the shotgun and throws it back. And then they cut to commercial.
That's so graphic.
Allie, I swear to God, maybe it didn't all quite happen that way. Maybe my mind has put a few things into it, but I remember June. Maybe it wasn't June.
Arm coming off.
Well, that's the part that I might have added to. But I remember the shotgun being thrown, and then I don't remember what happened after that. Like, it was time for that story to be up, and in the hour they had to go on the Loch Ness Monster. Freaking wrecked me. I mean, it wrecked me. I will not go camping. I will not go. I will not.
And I have no belief in Bigfoot whatsoever.
Oh,
you and I are the
it.
opposite.
I believe it.
See,
And is there one?
is
Is there 100? Are they in California? Are they over the border in Pennsylvania?
Right.
And don't tell me it's a bear.
They're always in East Jesus, Pennsylvania.
Yes, it is a disaster. I'm telling you now.
Okay, so mine is not anything conspiracy. Just the other day, I had some girlfriends over, and ironically, we were talking about 9/11, and there's always some conspiracies that are floated around 9/11.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick that one, and here's why. Too many families were affected that I don't want to say something to offend any of those families.
I get it.
So I'm not picking that.
Well, I'm sorry if I affected a family that Bigfoot ripped somebody's arm off of.
Chuck. No, mine is...
This podcast has had an odd handicap theme to it, and I swear,
yes,
I do not intend any
Scott,
malice
any more handicap
whatsoever.
jokes? Come on now. Any more handicap jokes?
I got eye problems, all right?
Okay, mine is, and it's so simple, but it's the one of my generation. Who really killed JonBenet Ramsey?
It's a fascinating one. I still believe it's the father. I absolutely believe it's the father.
But then some people speculate her brother, or that somebody came in who was a neighbor. So there's a lot of speculation out there. I just want to know who it really is.
You want to know why?
Or Casey Anthony.
Which one was that?
Her daughter was in the trunk.
Oh, yes.
And that also, weird daddy relationships on that one too.
Yeah.
Was it her dad that did it? That was also that like her dad did it and cover it up.
The JonBenet thing, I'm going to associate something locally in the Twin Tiers with the reason I hope it wasn't JonBenet's brother.
Oh, okay.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember all the details now of JonBenet, but was it a messy scene or she just is missing?
She was missing, but found in the basement.
Was it messy?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Here's the reason.
But how do you miss it?
Here's the reason.
If there's something in my basement, I'm going to find it.
Well, no, right? Here's the reason that, and I don't hope that it was anybody, but I lean more to why I think the guilt falls more to the father, was the mother's time was 100% occupied by JonBenet and those pageants and everything else that she would do.
Yeah.
And I think maybe part of me goes, the father was jealous and dealt with it, which is horrifying.
But I thought the brother was jealous.
Well, let me stop you right there. Do you know the local story about, and this shows up every few years on the news locally, the super red-haired kid with the glasses from the 80s?
Roby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wasn't he recently released?
Yes, he was.
And he
and
was
has
on
a girlfriend in like Brooklyn now.
Okay, so he's long gone from the area here. But from this area was very difficult. Now, I wasn't here when that crime happened in the early 80s or in the 80s.
90s, I think.
Or was it
like,
early 90s? It must have been early 90s
yeah,
because those glasses.
91, 92.
Okay, so I wasn't here, for that. So I didn't have the initial sting of that. But the thought that a kid could do something like that to another kid, because he was playing with another kid,
Yep.
or something to that effect.
Well, kind of lured him, but yes.
Yeah, it horrifies me. Like, I'm like, well, the world only has one place for someone that despicable. That's sort of an action. Okay.
Yep,
I mean, so we can't let that be the brother of JonBenet. It has to be somebody else. And that's where I fall to the father. It's this weird connecting in my brain. Like, I don't want it to be the brother.
I understand.
I want it to not be the brother.
I understand.
But I can also understand. Now, here's another theory, and I'm sure this has been floated. Could it have been something where it was an accident and the family covered it all up?
So that's a common thing too. And that's not just with JonBenet. That's in other instances I accidentally dropped her, hit her,
right.
was fighting with somebody.
Right. Or even if you were play fighting or whatever.
Yes, right. And then all of a sudden they hit their head, they died, and I didn't know what to do. Yep.
Well, and I didn't know what to do. And the reason I say that is, and I could see that as a potential theory, is there is a mindset that investigators, whether it be a district attorney, whether it be an investigator for whatever, they need to apply guilt somewhere, somehow. And accidents don't just happen. Even though sometimes accidents do just happen, it's rare that they go, it's so rare to just hear of a story of there was a horrible accident and we realize they're going to apply somebody has to pay mentality everywhere.
Right. And which is why people cover it up.
That's exactly it. So there is that chance that something horrific happened and the family went into that cover up mode.
I still don't think it was the mom.
I don't think so either. It could have been the brother and sister playing, could have been all of it. It could have been just the mom's involvement now would come into if it was a horrific family accident. They were playing hide and seek. She tripped or he tripped over her. Whatever. I'm speculating. Then the mother's involved with the cover up. But the problem with it is we don't live in a society, even though we're in a innocent until proven guilty society, we're really not. We're always in a society of we have to look for the guilt as opposed to just a level of innocence. And it does, could it have been something like that? How many cases are there where it was just a horribly sad thing that happened and somebody gets in trouble?
Well, that's the thing. We all like closure. I had to look this up.
Sometimes closure could just be a horrific accident.
I know. But you're right. We almost want more closure than that. I had to look this up because I thought JonBenet's mom died. She did.
Oh, she did.
Back in 2006.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, she knows where how her daughter went.
The dad is still alive. And then her son, oh my gosh, her brother Burke. God, he looks kind of creepy. But anyway, he's still alive too. He's 30. Yeah. He's 37 years old.
Well,
so
what do you say?
That's the thing. That's why that's my one. I want to know.
You want to know?
Yes, absolutely. It is something that even if it is like I am on my deathbed and somebody just whispers in my ear, it was the dad that killed JonBenet. Thank you, Jesus. I can go
take me now. I can now go peacefully.
Yes. Oh, please.
Wow.
Anyway.
That got a little heavy at the end, but still it felt
your reenactment of Bigfoot. Yeah, real heavy.
Well, that's what I if anybody ever found Chuck's arm in the shotgun, let us know.
Absolutely. But we will see you next week.
Hopefully with a good follow-up to Labor Day fun.
Yeah, have a good one.
Well, that was fun. Wasn't that fun? That was fun. Do us a favor, will you? Subscribe. Share the Scott and Alley Not For Air podcast. Touch our buttons. We know you want to.